Before trying anti-aging serums or wrinkle creams, check if you're getting enough collagen first. Collagen is a protein that plays a crucial role in maintaining the health and elasticity of our skin. Without it, we may notice visible signs of aging, like fine lines and wrinkles. While collagen production naturally declines as we age, certain collagen supplements can help bring back a youthful glow like you wouldn't believe. This is why I highly recommend taking collagen. Collagen is specially formulated to enhance skin elasticity and hydration. It's made with the top 5 most powerful types of collagen that are essential for skin health, elasticity, and firmness. Folks, with only 10 grams of bioactive collagen peptides per serving, collagen is designed to make it easy to boost your collagen levels to support healthier skin. Try it today and receive 53% off, free shipping, free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life. What a great deal. And also a free new e-report titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So folks, if you don't see it working, they'll give you your money back. Plus, you'll also help feed a hungry child, families and communities in need of healthier lives with your order through BioTrust partnership with NoKidsHungry.org. What a great company. Check it out today. Go to healthwithla.com, healthwithla.com, or please click the link right below here in our description box. So I'm here with Fred, and first of all, I thank you for coming on the record. It's very difficult sometimes for people to express what happened to them, even if it's decades ago. I've had people come up to me at conferences and they've never told another living soul what happened to them. Sometimes it's multiple abductions over a period of time. Sometimes it's close encounters of the third kind where they're seeing entities, and there's nowhere to go with this information. In our 4th film, which is on the abduction phenomena, what's interesting about this is we sit down in the very beginning of the film and we talk about people are violated, they're confused, they're hurt, they're angry, and there's no place to go with it because people think you're certifiable. The whole purpose of this interview is to say that people are not certifiable. Something is going on. It's supernatural. It's spiritual. It goes back to the Genesis 3:15 narrative, where the mingling of the seed, because that's what's happening. We've already delved into that, so I'm not going to belabor the point. But thank you for coming on the record. Something happened to you. Give us the backstory, please.
Okay. Well, it was back in 1978, and it was, I guess would be in the late fall, maybe very early winter. And me and my brother, we were still living at home. I was 19, my brother's 3.5 years younger than me, so of course he was about 16. And it was a very cloudy night, very overcast. Mm-hmm. And there was no stars shining. I mean, it was just very overcast. And where we lived at, our every now and then we'd have to go out and turn the television antenna to face St. Louis to pick up a signal. Okay. And I
remember those days. Okay.
The wind would blow it, you know,
Sure.
and out of range, and have to go out there. And my stepdad had built a long porch across the front of the house, mm-hmm. and it had a roof over it. So I'd have to go to the far end of the porch, towards the north of it, and turn the antenna. Well, we live out in the country on an old farm, and our dog, which being a country dog, is usually not afraid of anything. It wasn't a pup, he was a mature male dog. And as I was turning the antenna, he started pushing on me, and he about pushed me off the porch. And I'm thinking, what's your problem? And I looked down at him, and his fur was standing on end, mm-hmm. and he was urinating all over himself. And that immediately got my attention. It's like, what's going on? And then I started hearing a sound. As soon as I realized something was wrong here, because before my attention span was trying to get that silly antenna base in St. Louis, and I heard a sound, and it was a frequency. It was a pitch, a frequency pitch. It would start out real low and cycle real high, mm-hmm. and start all over again. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking around trying to figure out where is this coming from, and I'm finally just pinpointed out to the south of our house where the field was. And on the old farm, there used to be several hog houses. And they had all been tore down, and there was the biggest one that had a cement bottom to it, and it had been tore down, cement foundation was still there. And it was like off to the southwest of our house, about 75 foot out.
Okay.
And I went over and looked out underneath the edge of the roof, and I kept hearing that sound, and I was perplexed by it because I couldn't figure out what would make that sound. And as I looked out, it was like someone had taken a knife and it cut a perfect hole in the sky, as if the floor of heaven had a hole cut out of it or something. I mean, this bright light was shining, not like a beam coming down, but you could literally see a bright light in that hole that filled it all up. The dog by that time was again against me, still urinating all of his hair was on it, and he was whining.
Wow.
And I'm looking at him, I'm looking at that, and I thought, what is that? I couldn't hear the sound. Helicopters you can hear.
Sure.
Airplanes you can hear,
right.
and this, all it had was that strange sound. So I went back into the house, and my brother was laying in his bedroom reading. His light was on. And it was still fairly early because of that time of the year, it gets dark early. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him, my stepdad and mom were gone, and I told him, I said, something's out there, and I don't know what to think of it, scaring the dog to death, and it's freaking me out. And he said, don't tell me no more. I don't want to hear it. You're scaring me. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to turn out all the lights, and I'm going in my room, and hopefully this thing just disappears. So I laid down. So I didn't want to turn the light on because I think whatever's out there, I can't explain it. So I set the light off, and I fell asleep. And that's the best way I can put it. And passed out, whatever you want to say, freaked out, just the intensity, the grip, like, what is this? And next thing I know, I woke up, I was laying on this metal table with a sheet over me, and on my back, and I could see my feet sticking out on the end. Mm-hmm. And these figures was around at my feet, and they had the elongated black eyes and the shaped heads, they were weird, and long fingers. I remember these long fingers, several of them, and one of them reached out and touched my side. I remember I was raising up trying to look around because I knew this wasn't my room.
Right.
And I had no idea where I was at, but it touched my side. And I don't remember what side, if it was the left or right. All I know is that the minute it touched my side, I felt the pain. And I just fell back, and next thing I know, I woke up. When I woke up, I had a pain that just wouldn't go away. It burned. And it lasted for months. I remember...
Where was the pain?
It was in my side, front part on my...
Where the entity touched you?
Where it touched me,
okay.
Yeah. And it burnt. I mean, it was like chronic burning. It wasn't like an intensity that you would bend over. It was like a chronic burning, kind of like if you get a toothache out of steaks. My mother looked at me and said, what's wrong with you? She said, you probably should go to the doctor, get this checked out. And I said, no, Mom, I'm going to be okay. I'm 19 years old. I'm thinking, there's been worse things I'm sure I've been through, and just a matter of days it's gone. You get muscle strain from putting up hay or stuff like that. And I thought, I was just blowing it off because I'm thinking, that had to be a dream, it had to be a dream, it had to be a dream. And it lasted for at least 2 months, and finally it faded away. Well, that was 78, and then in 1980 I became a Christian. And by that time I'd started thinking, well, with all the demonic activity out there, I had dabbled in the dark arts and things prior to that when I was 17, and had gotten doing things I dabbled in, messed that I should never done. So when I became a Christian, I started thinking, if that was real, it had to be demonic. I couldn't, because it just didn't add up with what I read in the Bible.
Sure.
So in 86, I was at Walmart with my first wife. I was married for 3.5 years, a short period of time. Anyway, we had just gotten engaged. In the book section, I was walking past the book section there, and they usually have their displays and the most best-selling books. And I just wanted to see what they had. And as I walked by, I seen that book, Communion.
Whitley Strieber.
Yeah, with the gray alien.
Yep.
And my heart jumped. I stopped and I took a look at that. Oh my gosh. It left me dumbfounded, and it's, oh no, this is what it was. It's like up till that time I had no clue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then, after we were married, about a year later, I was painting a house across the river from where we used to live. They had an office that was built onto a pretty old house, about like what this one is. And I was painting the wall of the bedroom above the office there, and I heard that noise again. Heard it exactly again. And this time I'm standing there on the roof, I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me.
Right.
The nape of my neck, like the hair is doing a march across it. And I looked around and I could see it in the east, and it was in a clear blue sky. And it was a silver disc, but from a distance it couldn't have been no more than the size of a quarter.
So if you hold your hand out like this, is it like the size of your thumbnail?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just hanging there, making that noise. And all of a sudden, you feel like something kind of grips your throat. You want to speak, but your words are getting caught, So I finally stuttered out, in the name of Jesus Christ, I know what you are, and you're not putting me through this again.
Wow.
You leave right now in the name of Jesus Christ, be gone. Immediately it disappeared.
Wow.
I never had that encounter again.
Let me go back to the encounter the first time, before you were a Christian. So, were you taken, was your brother taken with you, or don't you know? Did he ever say anything?
He's never said a word, if he had or not. I don't know. He's never spoke of it. If he has, not to me.
Okay.
And I didn't share it with anybody.
Okay. So you I don't know whether you're aware of this, but everybody who's taken winds up on the metal table, and there's a examination, or so they call it. Sperm is taken from the men, ovum is taken from the women. Did you have any trouble urinating after the experience?
I don't remember, actually. If I did, at that time I was still thinking it was a dream, so I wasn't giving it a lot of credit as being much else, because it was too weird, and I didn't really want to think of it as anything else than that. I was in denial. And
so let's go back to the dog. Dogs sense danger, and obviously for a dog to urinate on himself and he's coming up against you, he knows something's about to happen.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
He never behaved that way before, and we live on a country, there's coyotes, there was a yearly round of a panther, there are all kinds of country animals out there. So, but for him to do that, he's never done that before, and I felt sorry for him. If I could have let him in the house, I could have, but I felt probably just as helpless as he did. And what I told my brother, I didn't go into detail, because my brother was already panicking from what I told him. He's 16 years old, and he'd never heard of anything like that, and he knew I wasn't lying, but it was making him more scared. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, I wonder if it's going to be here when my parents get home, And I was just...
How big was the circle in the sky?
It was huge. You figure the length of the old pig house floor, it was bigger than it, and you could easily put that in
50 feet?
No, it wouldn't be that long. I would say more like
Maybe 30?
something like that in width, because it was always called the big pig house, because it was the main one. We had two small, and but it was big enough that whatever was above it, it was larger than that. But why it was circling on that area, and I got to thinking later about the parable where the demon wanted to go into the swine.
Right. Interesting, but you're not a Christian at this point.
No, not 78 by any means.
And you've dabbled in the dark arts, as it were, before.
Right.
A few years prior to that. When this hole in the sky opened up, did you see anything in it other than the light? Was there a faint outline of anything?
No.
Well, how much time elapsed between you're out there looking at this hole in the sky, as it were, and before I ask the question, how far up was that roughly? 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, or lower?
Well, yeah, I don't know much about how to. All I can say would be your average height of whenever storm clouds are overhead.
Okay, so it's pretty low.
Yeah.
All right. So you see the light. You're standing there. How long do you look at it?
Maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, you're there looking at it for 10 minutes.
Probably, I would say that would be fair assumption.
Why
Yeah.
did you go back in the house?
Fear.
Okay.
Fear.
Did anything happen during that 10 minutes? Did the light change color? Did
No.
it move?
No.
Just constant?
It was it stayed there constantly. The cycling kept going on,
Right.
rotation.
Was there a beam coming down from it?
From what I remember, it just looked like someone taking a knife and cutting a perfect circle.
Perfect
in a
circle.
And there you could just,
And it sat like that.
yeah.
It didn't change.
No.
So whatever this thing was had control over the weather. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to do what it did, no clouds intervening in that circle. I mean, it was a perfect hole. I mean, it was, and just a bright light. I don't, and then the sound. And
Yeah.
I kept looking, thinking that I should see something. That's why I kept standing there, thinking, there's got to be something that would be causing this. What else? I mean, I was expecting some aircraft that I'm familiar with, an
Right.
airplane, helicopter.
But that never happened.
No.
So you're walking back from basically the cement slab where the pig house was. The light's still there. Did you look behind your shoulder as you walked? Did you kind of glance back to see if it was still there? Did you run to the house? Did you walk to the house?
Well, the roof limited me. Once I got within that, where the roof no longer you can see beyond it.
Okay.
I didn't bother to go back and look again. I
Okay.
was just like, nope, 'cause
So you walk in the house. You tell your brother. Did you peer out any of the windows to see if the light was still on in the field?
I didn't. I don't know if he did.
Okay.
I don't know what he did. He just was very determined. He didn't want me to say anything more. So maybe he did. If he never said a word to me. My brother's always been very quiet about things. He never. And I didn't say anything at all for many years up until last couple months.
Okay.
And I was talking to some friends of mine and talking back that time and talking about that time Sinclair was experiencing UFO flaps of its own, roughly that same year. And
Okay. That's interesting.
I decided then to open up. And have you guys ever know of anybody experienced that? And
Do you remember being? So you said in your testimony that you awakened on the metal table with the sheet over you, there at your feet. Did you have clothes on?
I don't know.
You don't remember.
I don't know.
How long were you awake on that before the entity came over and touched you when you went out again?
Not very long. 5 minutes, maybe.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did the entities move during that 5 minutes?
They kind of
Okay.
came up to notice that I was alert,
Right.
as if they moved up to see if
Right.
I was alert. Yeah.
You left that out in your testimony.
Yeah,
That's why
they
I'm
were
probing
moving.
here.
Yeah.
So okay, so they move up. Then what happens?
That's when I see their fingers, and I notice the one reaches out and touches my side. And
Here's my index finger. How much longer?
Oh, they were long. Twice that, maybe? I don't know. They were long. All I remember is they were long, bony looking.
Right.
And,
How many fingers?
I just remember them having fingers, I don't know, 5 on each hand, maybe, I don't know if there's more or not. I was too panicking.
I understand. Were you able to move on the table?
No. Other than raise my head, like I'm laying flat on my back.
Right.
Just looking and see the top of my feet. And I did move my head a little bit to the right.
Right.
Because that's when I noticed the one come up. And
How many of them were there? Do you
I
remember?
seen at least, I don't know, 3, maybe 3. If there were more, I was already too focused on just what I was taking in, because that was enough right there.
Did you get a message? Did they communicate with you telepathically? Nothing at all like that?
No.
How did they seem to you? When you were
Not
looking at
friendly.
them? Not friendly, okay.
There's a word that I'd like to say, but I can't, there's a word for it, but it's, well, all I can say, they weren't friendly. They, as if they were just there, expressionless.
Mm-hmm. Did they have emotion that you saw or no?
No, it was
You
just,
said expressionless, that's why.
I couldn't, it was like they knew I was alert.
And they put you back down again.
Yeah, the moment they touched me, I don't know if it was past now, what I know is the next thing I woke up, I was back in my room.
So when you're in your room now, and we'll still go back to the table maybe in a little bit. So you're back in your room, and the next morning you wake up, and you're not sure whether it's a dream or it happened. What were your pajamas like? Was there anything weird about that?
No, well, no, can't say that either. I mean, these are details that I would not have. When you're thinking it's a dream,
You're not looking.
yeah.
But now, 45 years later,
Yeah,
was there anything weird with the pajamas?
no.
Was there any visible mark on your side where the thing touched you?
I just don't remember. All I remember is the burning, I won't lie, because I don't remember.
That's okay.
And all I remember is the burning. That was the one thing. And I did look to see if there was possible redness or anything, because I'm thinking, was it a spider bite? Could I have gotten bit or something? You're living out in the country. Something maybe could have got but this is not that time of year, but in the house, you do get brown recluses and stuff.
Well, they're nasty.
And but it was just constant. It was enough to made my mother really concerned. She kept asking me, "You need me to take you to the doctor?" And
Why would she say that? Because you were going ow, or why would she?
I would have this look grimace on my face.
Okay.
I guess it gave me away, and it was just I was always in discomfort,
Right, okay.
and not my normal self. And she would every now and then kind of pressure me, and no, Mom. I'm thinking, what am I going to tell them? And I'm almost
You're not going to say anything.
yeah. And
What about your appetite? Did it affect your appetite?
I don't remember that either. I was not very much to eat a whole lot in big settings anyway.
What about passing urine or feces or any of that?
That I don't
remember.
I don't remember either.
Remember.
If it did affect me, I probably would have.
Said something.
Yeah.
Let's go back on the ship. What is the lighting like on the ship? You're on the table, you wake up, you look at your feet, there are 3 gray aliens with the big eyes, the big heads. What's the lighting in the room like?
Well, it was light enough that I could make out it was a white sheet that was on me, and I could see the table was like a silver metal table.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see my feet. I mean, it wasn't like I was looking in shadows.
Okay.
So it was bright enough. Where it was coming from, I have no clue. But where they were at, like they kind of came up as though in the shadows, out of some shadows, and was where I was at. And we're there. It was,
Did any of them lean forward and get in your face?
no.
Okay.
No.
He just touched you on your side.
Yeah. And I'm like, looking back, I'm thinking, why did they touch me on my side? What there could have been that could have possibly been necessary to do that?
Well, you went out right after that.
Yeah.
And then you don't remember anything till the
No,
next
I
morning.
don't. No. I wish I did, but I don't. I mean, at the same time, what I do remember just from that is enough that left me wanting never to say anything unless I absolutely had no choice, or enough time went by where I could speak about it.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. When you're there, you're looking at them. Did you see behind them? Did you see where the room at all, where you were?
No, I sure did.
Did you see any instruments?
No.
Nothing. Just the 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3 entities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like one of those nightmares you hate to gaze at too long.
Right. Anything else?
No, no.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if you could do a regression to see if any other memories would be jarred, because there's stuff probably in there, but they suppress it, and so you don't remember. Wow, thank you for coming on the record. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I don't know if it's helpful or not, but it's...
No, it is. It's very helpful, because what people need to understand is that this phenomenon is ongoing. There's Christians who have been taken and then they stop their abductions. There are people like yourself who were taken before they became a Christian, and then you're on the roof and you go, in the name of Jesus, no, and the thing leaves. We've heard this a lot. There was a man whose name was Kevin at the conference this weekend, and he's been abducted since he was 6 years old. He's a born-again, spirit-filled Christian, but he's still being taken, and which was very, very disconcerting. And so we prayed over him, and I felt I had a word from the Lord saying, break the generational stuff. And his past is like really hazy. He doesn't know where he comes from. So we prayed over the generational stuff, because they're very interested in, if your grandmother was abducted, the chances are your mother was abducted, the chances are if you're a female, you were abducted. That's just how it goes. I'm happy that it stopped for you. Most people, it stops. They can break it. That's of course in our film on the abductions. But thank you so much for coming on the record. God bless you. Appreciate it, Fred.
Well, thank you. God bless you as well.